Have you ever wondered how two people working the same job, making the same amount of money, one, when it comes to time to retiring, ends up being broke, no extra money left over, and they're still figuring out how to live in their retirement age. And the other is a multi-millionaire, able to afford the lifestyle that they've always dreamt of. How did two people end up in two very different paths? Well, it's very simple. It's partly a math equation. It's all about math. We have to use that to drive our behavior. But we make emotional decisions to drive that logical decision making. So let's break down, well, what are the things that you can be doing to, instead of being the person at the end of their life broke, you can build wealth for yourself, for your family. And what kinds of decisions do you need to be making? Let me adjust here and I'll bring it over here. So, yes, money is math. Making smart strategic decisions, taking certain risks, those are all math equations, and we need to use math to help inform making those decisions. But a lot of the rationale behind making those decisions is actually emotional in nature, and it comes from emotional underpinnings. First, let's talk about needs versus wants. And this is very, very, very foundational. Everyone's got their own situation, but what is a need? What is a want? A need is something that you need to survive on a day-to-day basis. You would not be able to make it to tomorrow without those things. Whereas a want is something that helps enrich your life, make it more enjoyable. But at the end of the day, if you didn't have it, you'd be okay. So some of those needs: food, shelter, water. These are basic necessities to be able to help you live. Whereas I know for myself growing up, a want definitely would have been that next gaming system, whether it was a N64 or a GameCube or the Nintendo Wii. Sometimes it's just relaxing from work, where we just feel so exhausted at the end of the day. You just feel like, I need to take a break. It may feel that way, but that really is a want. It's not something that's required. Now, of course, you have to balance your energy, and we won't get into that conversation. But relaxing, taking leisure time, doing things that may not actually input into your financial bank, those aren't needs at the end of the day. And the more financial resources we put into needs versus wants versus other buckets that may enrich us, not today, but down the road, it reveals the values that we have, whether or not they're aligned or not. That's a good exercise to reflect on. See, you've probably heard of the 50-20-30 rule from a budgeting perspective, or the 3-jar method for where do you put your money. You've got your expenses, your savings, your spending, and gifting. And from a budget allocation perspective, it's your normal living expenses, your fun, your wants, and your savings. There's many different strategies. But where we put that money and how much money we allocate to those different buckets really, truly shows us what those values are. And if you want to start building wealth, there are a couple of habits that can help set you on that path. First is always paying yourself first. meaning putting money aside, saving for something in the future that you intend to do that with that money. Might be putting into in the market to help it grow. It might be setting aside some money to help you buy like a real estate property, or some other type of equipment that you can invest into, say, a business venture. But putting aside that money before using it for your essentials, your living expenses, and then of course before your wants, really dictates whether or not you will actually move in that direction. Because what many people will do is they'll do their basic expenses, and then they'll use money for their wants, and then the leftover is what gets put in the savings. So it's very easy to understand, well, directionally where you might go. Whereas if, again, you prioritize the saving first, you're more likely when you have a trajectory towards things that you want, and you're more likely to direct your attention towards those things versus things that may just satisfy you today. It's the same thing with health goals. Do you eat the ice cream today, or do you wait for a couple of weeks and you really feel enriched and enjoy the experience when you have it every so often? So pay yourself first. Track your spending. There are many ways to go about doing this. Simplest way is to actually just look at your bank statements, look at your credit card statements, and categorize everything. Where is your money actually going? And the reason for doing this is so that you can course correct. Sometimes it's a sticker shock, if you will, of seeing where all of your money goes and how it might not actually be aligned with where you want it to be going. And so then you can make the decisions to how to course correct. And then lastly, as your income grows, as your situation changes, and you're able to have a little more extra money to spend towards things, try to avoid lifestyle creep. Because what happens is then that becomes your new standard, but then you're paying for more things that, again, aren't allocating potentially towards the things that you value. So it's not to say that you can't extend your lifestyle. It's, again, being a patient game and doing it strategically versus just allowing it to happen as your income grows. Because that's often what happens with folks, is they make a little more money and it's like, okay, now I can put a little more into this other thing, or spend a little more here or there, and it's not noticeable. It's always the small things, but then it ends up adding up on an annualized basis to a significant amount. So many of you probably heard the stories, and the number itself is less relevant, but many lottery winners, they end up going broke only a handful of years later, and it's all because they haven't changed their mindset and their habits around what they do with their money. So if we can get that right, if you do win the lottery, fantastic. That's amazing. Love that for you. You're in a much better position to know what to do with that money instead of being undisciplined with how it gets allocated. So that is all I've got to cover for today. So one thing that you can do just to take away from this video, track your spending for the next 7 days. I'll send or link a quick sheet that you can use to just capture where is your money going. You can also just find any sort of cash flow statement template online. You can search for that anywhere, but just track where it's going and see, is that do I want it going in all those places, or how can I make some adjustments to better align with my values? And then from there, change your habits, because if you change your habits, you will change the trajectory of your future. So if you enjoyed all of this, come check out my Skool community where we teach about finance and building generational wealth, if I can get the words out. it's a basic financial literacy, and it's a community where we're empowering each other with strategic tactics and other things on not just bettering your financial situation, but being able to pass those lessons down and better position yourself and your family for the future with your finances. So we'll catch you next time.